Good evening. The mother of two murdered women has described an apology from the Metropolitan Police as 10 months too late and hollow. Bieber Henry and Nicole Smallman were killed while they were out celebrating Bieber's birthday. But as loved ones searched for the sisters, the police watchdog found officers made mistakes. The Independent Office for Police Conduct today said the Met Service was below standard. Our senior correspondent Ron K. Phillips reports.
The last images of Bieber Henry and Nicole Smallman capture them shopping for items for a picnic. The sisters headed into Friant Country Park, where they celebrated Bieber's birthday with friends. When they didn't return home, the family made several calls to the police to report them missing. But as their mother told ITV London in an interview earlier this year, they felt their concerns were not being taken seriously.
There seemed to be no sense of urgency. Anybody I was talking to it was a different person every time. There was no follow-up.
Delays in the police response meant the family felt they had no choice but to take matters into their own hands.
To cut a very long story short, we had to do the missing persons. We had to track down who was at the picnic.
Family and friends also conducted a search of the park. It was Nicole's boyfriend who found their bodies. This time, when they called the police, they came. The Independent Office for Police Conduct has told the Met to apologise to the family. And in a statement, the IOPC said, "We found the level of service provided over the weekend following the sisters' disappearance was unacceptable. No misconduct was found against an officer and two members of police staff, but there will be action taken over their performance, which was found to be inadequate." The Met has denied racial bias played any part in how the missing persons reports were dealt with, but the family strongly disagrees.
Race and class. I think they looked at my daughter's address, which was a council flat, and thought they knew who she was. Two women of colour out doing who knows what, where and when, and they'll turn up.
2 days before 19-year-old Daniel Hussein will be sentenced for the sisters' murders, the Met Police has offered to visit Nicole and Bieber's loved ones to say sorry in person. But the families say, as far as they're concerned, the time for apologies has been missed. Ron K. Phillips, ITV News.
At a time when trust in policing is fractured, there has been a sharp rise in the number of officers facing disciplinary action after abusing their power for sexual purposes. The police watchdog described it as a serious form of corruption. Ria Chatterjee reports.
Abuse of position for a sexual purpose. APSP, the simple police acronym for a complex system of behaviours.
So at one end of the spectrum, it may be inappropriate messaging or just excessive messaging to somebody. At the other end of the spectrum, it's very serious sexual crimes.
New figures released by the Independent Office for Police Conduct show that from 2018 to 2021, 66 officers and members of police staff faced disciplinary proceedings. Misconduct was proven in almost all cases. 42 of the cases happened in the last year alone, all of them for abuse of powers for a sexual purpose.
These figures probably represent a massive underreporting of those sorts of incidents, because most victims may feel ashamed and embarrassed about it.
It is the single largest form of police corruption, and organisations like the Centre for Women's Justice exist to hold police forces to account.
So perhaps what we're looking at here, Harriet, is a redefining of the parameters around abuses of power. Why is that significant?
It helps those who are investigating it to put it very firmly in the box of serious misconduct. In fact, if you have a police officer who is abusing his position, potentially there is a criminal offence of misconduct in public office. Or what we don't know from the report or the press release about the report is the extent to which any of those cases are actually being prosecuted.
I think that every morning we wake up and check Twitter and see the news, and there just seems to be floods of stories of this systemic abuse.
The organisation Sisters Uncut defend domestic violence services. They've taken to so-called cop watch training sessions.
And that there needs to be a reckoning. Monitoring the police, bystander intervention, what to do if you see police officers harassing people in your communities. If someone's being detained, you can ask, are they being detained? Under what power are they being detained? The police officer has to tell you. You can ask for the police officer's name, you can collect their badge, their vehicle numbers.
The IOPC says huge questions around social culture lie at the heart of this problem, none of which have a place in policing. Ria Chatterjee, ITV News.
3 men are being questioned on suspicion of murder after 2 teenage boys were killed in Brentwood over the weekend. Police are searching through more than 200 hours of CCTV footage after being called to Regency Court in the early hours of Sunday morning. Environmental protesters have scaled a government building in Westminster demanding support for a plant-based food system ahead of the upcoming climate change summit. Activists from Animal Rebellion used specialist equipment to climb the building in central London. IKEA has confirmed it will buy the former flagship Topshop store on Oxford Street for £378 million. The West End site was put on the market after Sir Philip Green's Arcadia Group went into administration last year. The new shop is planned to open in autumn 2023 and will focus, of course, on home furnishing accessories. And finally, as a 13-year-old, Shelley Epstein saw Cirque Du Soleil at the Royal Albert Hall and told her family she wanted to be on stage too. Well, the little girl from Hendon made the big leap and is now in the show. In her own words, Shelley has been telling us about the full circle moment that's brought her centre stage.
My name is Shelley Epstein, and on the Cirque Du Soleil show Lucia, I am the running woman. Words can't actually describe how excited I am. It's a beautiful full circle moment. The show finished in 2020, and the fact that we get to premiere again in London is, I'm so fortunate to get to live that. I'm so excited to be able to be on stage again, just even being in full costume and makeup, it's surreal, and it's amazing to know that the entertainment world is finally coming back to life. It was hard. It almost felt like going through a breakup almost, when something you love has been taken away from you rather than you making that decision. My character is part monarch butterfly and part Tarahumara ultramarathon runner. And she kind of acts as a tour guide throughout the show. She's a strong female character, which is really awesome to portray. And at the end, she takes her leaps, doing the Russian swing, which is my specialty. So it's 2 giant swinging pendulums. You fly from one to the other. You can actually hear the audience hold their breath as you fly, and then when you land, you get that round of applause, which just it's so fulfilling. When I first saw Cirque Du Soleil, it was actually here at the Royal Albert Hall when I was little. I think I was 13 years old, and after the show I said to my parents, that's what I want to do. So it's a full circle moment from when I was a kid, a full circle moment since COVID. I'm living my dream. Life doesn't get better than that right now.
Shelley Epstein from Cirque Du Soleil there. On to the weather now. Here's Holly Green with the forecast.
Making the most of it, whatever the weather. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Good evening. It's all very mild at the moment. Temperatures up to around 17 or 18 today, and we're sticking with our mild theme for now as well. Some bright spells to be had, some sunshine, although cloud is pushing in, and there will be a decent amount of that, I think. Breezy as well, and obviously that does offset the mild feel a bit. But with this wedge of warm air, a weather front further north and west pushing in, bringing a fair bit of rain to northwestern parts of the country actually. But for us, it drags its heels. It doesn't arrive until probably later on Friday, but it does lead the way to a more unsettled weekend and a less mild feel by that stage as well. Out there at the moment then, this southwesterly breeze drawing cloud in, some clear spells to be had, maybe a splash of rain but mostly dry, and yes, mild, so temperatures around about 13 or 14 Celsius. So we head into tomorrow morning, and it's a similar story really. We've got this southwesterly breeze blowing that cloud in. I think it will be a little bit stronger perhaps than today. Some spells of sunshine to be had, mostly a dry story, and again temperatures doing very nicely for the time of year, with values getting up to around 17, possibly 18 degrees. Staying mild on Thursday, but a change for the end of the week.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
And that's it. We're back from 6 o'clock in the morning. For now, though, from all of us here, good night.